All right, thanks everybody for joining me. If you don't know who I am, my name is Heather Christensen. I am the CFO or Chief Finance Boss Lady at Savvy Boss Lady. And this is our bi-weekly, Jen tells me I can't say bi-weekly, my twice a week series that we're going to be doing during this time, giving some free information, some tools, tips, and tricks that may help you in your business during this slow period, which it is for most of us, and on into the future. The tips and tricks we're going to give are good for both slow times and lean and fat times. There's really not tips that are only good for one or the other. This is just a distillation of sort of all of our knowledge and providing it for free to the community, to anybody that wants to access it at this time. The replays of all of these recordings will be up in the group, in the private Facebook group, for about a week after we make the recordings. And then after that, we will be taking them down for repurposing at a later time. So if you would like to have access to the replays, there will be no offers during these live streams. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. This is not a pitch to get you into my group or to, get into my paid program or anything like that. This is truly just our giving of our knowledge to those around us. We do ask that you be a member of the private Facebook group, only because we want to keep this a safe space for everybody to be able to ask their questions and be present with the information. And we will be taking it down, like I said, so that we can repurpose it in the future. But for right now, all of the information that we're giving is free. And if you have questions, please feel free to ask them here in the group. It's the only place that we will be interacting and answering questions and having these live streams. So the topic today, we're going to talk about how do you ramp up when everyone else is slowing down. So we're looking at strategies for generating revenue in slow times. This obviously is an unprecedented for us in our lifetime. This is an unprecedented time where sort of business has ground to a screeching halt. Many of us who are coaches and trainers and teachers and healers and creatives are finding our business sort of in this rocky territory where we're not quite sure what's coming next. We don't know whether, the revenue that we were planning for next month or the month after or the month after that is actually coming down the pike. So these are some strategies to sort of shore yourself up in your business and in your life. Now, I will tell you guys that I am not the one to sugarcoat things. So I'm not here to tell you that everything is roses and rainbows and unicorns and everything is going to be super cool and awesome and hunky-dory and, we're all going to come out of this the other side, better than ever. That's certainly a possibility. And these tips and tricks and everything we're going to be sharing with you can help you with that. And some people are going to have attrition in their business. Some people are going to have a slowdown in their business. They're going to have a slowdown in revenue. It's actually one of the things we're going to talk about today. You need to expect attrition. Unless your business is really survival based, like people need what you offer and what you sell, either to be in compliance with rules or they need it because they can't live without it. You provide a, particular brand of nutrition that is essential for them, or you provide I know one of our clients has a essential oils business where they're really focused on how to help keep your household clean and healthy during this time. Another client focuses on the health benefits of things like essential oils. All of these things, unless your clients believe that those things are survival based for them, like they cannot live without it, you can expect some attrition during this time. Expect that if you had clients before the shelter in place, the quarantine, whatever you're calling this, if you had clients previous to this that were having trouble paying you, those clients are likely going to fall off. If you have clients for whom you were having conflicts with for one reason or another, those are really just going to be exacerbated during this time. What I want you to do, and what the tip is for right now, is to notice, to actually be conscious and notice what is similar about those clients. What's similar about the clients who are falling off? Do they not value your service? And it's just becoming really obvious now. Those aren't clients that you want to keep. You want clients who are champions for you, who love you and what you do and love the way that you provide the service to them. Um, if they're a client who is really comes to you and says, you know, I love you, I love what you do, I just can't afford to pay you right now, and you haven't had problems with them in the past, that may be worth a conversation for you. But if you've had problems with clients in the past, problems with clients that could not afford to pay you, who didn't make paying your invoices or your bills a priority in their own business, those clients are probably going to fall off during this time. And it's probably a good thing for both of you. You want clients who are your biggest fans. You want clients who really love you and the way you present your material and the way that you do what you do. That's that's what we're all here for. There's a million people in this world like me that do the kinds of work and coaching and strategy and money conversations that I have with my clients all day. There's so many out there. But the clients who resonate with me, those are the ones that are going to stick with me through this time. And that's really what we want. We want clients that resonate with us because that turns out to be a beneficial relationship for both. I also want you to recognize if there are clients for whom you were having challenges in either your communications or the way that you do whatever your particular function is with that client, and whether you were having conflicts with your clients over those types of things. I always do things this way, X, Y, and Z, and my client wanted me to do things A, B, and C, right? If you're having those kinds of conflicts before this happened, it may be a time for you to evaluate whether or not the relationship with that client is actually going to work for you going forward. So I also want you to notice during this time those clients that stick with you and the clients who are in it with you and who are champions for you and who are right there with you, who when you say, hey, I think we should do this during this time, they're like, you know what, that's a great idea, let's move forward with that. The clients who keep paying your bills even though it's a hard time for them too. And as usual, guys, money is only energy, right? I know you all have heard this, you've heard this a million times before, but money is really energy. And in order for it to keep flowing to us, we also need to keep it flowing to other people. I will tell you that I'm prioritizing paying my vendors and paying my employees and paying those people that support me right now, even though times are a little uncertain and I'm not quite sure what's going on, because my supporting them in their family and in their life during this time means that they can then go out and support other people, and those other people can support other people, and that the whole cycle keeps rolling around. And that's how we all get through this, is not by holding on tight and keeping all of the money for ourselves and keeping all of our resources to ourselves. It's really by sharing and making sure that we help support everyone around us so that they can in turn support people that will then eventually support us. This is always done without expectations. I support the people that I love and who support me because I love them. And it's the right thing for me to do, is to continue to support those people and pay those people and make sure that those people can make their way through right now. As small business owners, most of us don't pay ourselves. Which, hey, by the way, it's a super tip for when we all get through this. If you're a small business owner, paying yourself is one of those things that is super important, and it's really being highlighted now. If we had all paid ourselves as small business owners, we'd all qualify for unemployment insurance at the moment. So another tip for when we all get through this is you might really consider whether or not you can afford not to pay yourself going forward. So I really want you to refine your avatar right now, because those people are the people that you're going to be able to tap for more products and more services and get them on board to do more things with you as everything goes back to normal, whatever that new normal is. And they're the people that are going to help support your business moving forward through this, right? I want to tell you again, I'm not sugarcoating this at all. Do not expect to pick up new clients right now. I don't, it is very unlikely that unless your business is very much a survival based business at the moment, that you're going to be picking up new clients. I've seen a lot of people offering programs and selling things and, offering super great discounts, which I'm sure everyone appreciates. And most people, unless it's something that is truly critical, crucial to their business, are not investing in new things right now. And I, I'm not surprised, and neither should you be. So a couple of other things that you can do during this time. It's never the sexy answer, and it's always useful. Trim your expenses where you can. Now, again, I'm prioritizing people in my life, and I recommend that you do that too. Support your local mom and pop shops. Support your local small business owners. Support your local practitioners, your small practitioners. Support your local community. And that can include your online community, but support the people that you have regular contact with, and you know that your dollars and cents are going to support them and their families and their livelihood. Because again, that's how the whole cycle of money flows. You pay the people that you have the best contact with and are the closest to you, and so on and so forth, and it all comes back around again. As much as I appreciate a lot of these big corporations that are stepping up and making sure that we're all supported in the things that we do, they don't necessarily need our money. As we have seen in the government lately, those particular corporations and companies and things like that are all going to get, they're going to get our money anyway through taxes. So they're part of the stimulus bill where they're going to get some money in order to support them. But the people that are going to have trouble are those that are the closest to you and who are similar to you. You'll be able to recognize yourself in them, right? Those are the people that need your support right now. So if there are things that you can trim, if you can go to a lower level plan on something like a Zoom, I'm using your platform and telling people to cut back their service. They're doing great things right now, offering for their services for free. And I very truly support them. And if you can get by with a $14.99 plan instead of a $54.99 plan right now, that's what you should do. But not just for now, for your business. Where can you trim back expenses that you don't really need? Where have you just been throwing money at things that don't need to have money thrown at them? I will admit, and Jen will tell you 1000%, that I would rather pay somebody to do that for me person rather than I'm going to do it all myself so that I can save money, because time is my most precious commodity. And I would much rather pay somebody to do something rather than me spending my time trying to figure it out and trying to learn it and all of that sort of thing. And I absolutely recognize where there are some times where I have paid for things much longer than I should have, courses that I'm not taking. Subscription boxes are my Achilles heel. I love them because I love sort of the surprise of getting new things all the time that I wouldn't have necessarily chosen for myself. But, I've had 5 or 10 of those at any given time. One quarter I did an audit and saved myself $100 a month because of the subscriptions that I had on that were coming in. So you can assess whether or not you have subscriptions and things like that that are that you've been paying for that are not useful to you during this time, and make sure that you are assessing the regular things that you're using in your business to see that those are actually things that you need in your business, or if there are some things that you can sort of scale back on a little bit. Online learning is another thing that we've talked about. So I have online learning as one of the items on here. And we'll talk about what I specifically recommend and what I don't recommend. But if there are programs that you've been paying for that you haven't been using, and it's a use it or lose it kind of a thing, if you haven't done it up until now, are you really going to? Right? If you're not really truly going to use it, then you should disconnect. You can always reconnect later. But things like I had a speed reading subscription at one point where it was sort of you played games and stuff like that online. It wasn't a course that it was like this unit, that unit, and that unit. It was just hey, you come online, you play these things, and that's how you learn to increase your reading speed. I hadn't used it for probably 6 months, and it was costing me $12.99 or something like that every single month. Well, I eventually canceled it. And of course, we have this fear of missing out, I think is really what it boils down to, right? Where we think, but what if they put this great brand new thing up there and now I'm going to be missing it? And it could be the linchpin, it could be the thing that has changed my business. I understand that fear. And I know that if you are anything like me, and I know a lot of you are exactly like me, you have plenty of courses that you've downloaded, lifetime access to certain things that you have never even made it all the way through. So, evaluate your expenses. Are there services that you're using in your business that you can either get away with using the free plan for a while, or you can downgrade the plan that you're already in? One of my clients, who is a very successful online marketer, does this all the time, where they go through their expenses and they evaluate whether or not they can use the free plan for some of the services that they're using, or use the free plan for now and then upgrade later when they need it, rather than just keeping things at the higher level because it's easy. It doesn't take that much time to make a phone call, send an email to support, do what you need to do in order to downgrade systems or to be able to figure out a lesser plan to use on some of those systems. And you can save yourself a bunch of money. And again, if we're talking about larger companies like the Zooms and the ClickFunnels and the MailChimps and the Kartras and the Teachables and all of the programs and places that we all use, there is usually a free or a low cost plan that may be perfect for you, especially during times when things are slow. So the other part of that is evaluating your systems. What systems are actually working for you and what systems are not? So the trick here is really to evaluate whether or not the systems that aren't working for you can be tweaked. If they can be tweaked a little bit in order for them to work for you, great. If they're just not working, ditch them. It's okay for a system to not be working and for you to give up and for you to not use it anymore. Trello is that for me, right? I have seen so many Trello board, tutorials and all of these sort of things, and I keep trying. Trello's free and it doesn't cost me anything to try it out and see what I can do with it. But I can't make the system work for me. At least I have been unsuccessful up until now. So it's a system that I revisit every once in a while, and I look at it and I say, hey, can I do this thing with it? I've seen this person's course about it, and it seems like it should work just great for this. And I've seen this person showing me how they set up their boards, and I have a bunch of templates, and I have all of these things, and I have not been able to make Trello work for me, probably because I'm not a visual person per se. I'm more of a linear, make a list and check off the things kind of a person. And Trello doesn't work as well for me that way. So maybe I ditch it and I say, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore because that's not the most efficient use of my time. That's not the most efficient way that this works for me. So then you look and you see, okay, well, but what does work for me? For me, I'm a QuickBooks user and I love QuickBooks, and QuickBooks has worked for me gangbusters for years and years and years. So whenever anybody asks me what system I recommend, I'm like, QuickBooks works for me. And it may not work for you, and it may not work for the way that your brain works. It's the same as when I recommend different types of apps and systems and things for tracking, like mileage tracking and expense tracking and things like that. I'm like, here are the apps and the websites and the things that have worked for me. They may not work for you. And I'm always open to trying new things, but it's the same as when you bring people on, right? There's this thing, this saying that goes around that's, hire slow and fire fast. Like, take a long time to really talk to somebody and interview them and make sure that they're the one that you want in a particular position in your company. And be willing to, if it's not working, to cut the cord and to say, hey, you know what, this really isn't working. Let's move on. It's the best thing for both of us. The same for your apps and for your systems. If there's a system that you have been trying to force the square peg into the round hole for God knows how long, and it just isn't working, cut the cord. Be done with it. It's okay. And it's okay if it was an expensive system that you've put money into. Don't continue to throw good money after bad. If you cannot make a system work, no matter how expensive it was, or no matter how much you think that it's going to be this great thing because, your friend, this coach, somebody has told you that it's going to work. If it doesn't work for you, it's not the right system for you. The system that works is the one that you will use. That's always my philosophy. Find a system that works. That's the system that works for you. That's the system you should use. If it means writing everything down on paper, I have a client like this where no matter how many years I've tried to switch over into digital because that's what works for me, what they're really comfortable with is paper, is having paper copies of everything and having paper, bills arrive and paper invoices and all of that. And so that's what I'm operating in is that I have to use the system that's going to work for me, right? And for you. The next one is, and this we've already heard this, guys, you've heard this so many times. We must slow down to speed up. Take your time during this time to slow down, to evaluate your business, to evaluate your systems, to evaluate what's going on. And then that will give you the path for moving forward, right? You don't need to spend more time right now trying to push forward. Don't try and push forward with the things that you've been doing. Don't try to push forward with the things that were working before this all happened. Slow down, reevaluate, look at what you can do, right? If you have clients that are still sticking with you, can you support them right now? How can you support them? How can you explore better, more efficient systems for yourself, for your business, for them? But slow down and take some time to really evaluate where you're at in business and what your clients really need for right now, right? And to that end, don't push yourself too hard right now. If you're not feeling like you can move forward, if you're not feeling like you have the capacity to do anything more than just survive right now, then I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to do that and to take a deep breath and to really just take this time to reset and to reevaluate your business and to make sure that what you're doing is what you're passionate about and where you want to go. Because if you're not, what we need is passionate people. What we need is passionate people in business doing what they love. And if what you've been doing is not something you're passionate about, not something you love, maybe now is the time to pivot. Maybe now is the time to explore that idea, to explore some other way that you can deliver what you're passionate about to the people around you. and tacking onto that, explore ancillary services and products that you may be able to offer in conjunction with what you already offer. So as some of you may know, in Jen's day job, she is an attorney and she mostly focuses on wills and trusts. And during this time, she and I had a conversation about she doesn't offer trust administration, but it's something that my business can absolutely provide. So we're exploring the possibility that maybe I can provide trust administration services for her clients during this time. It's an ancillary service, something that I haven't offered before, but something that's right in line with what I do that might be a possibility during this time. So explore ways that you might be able to offer something that is similar to what you already offer, but is sort of an add-on product. And see if maybe that's a way that you can generate more revenue. Again, you want to look at those clients that are your champions, that are your absolute go-to clients, your dream clients, your avatar clients, the ones that you base all of your products and services on. What else do they need that you can offer? What else are you able to offer to them during this time? This may be a good time to play around, try new things, but also to take your results with a grain of salt, right? So you're pushing out new things right now. You're not going to expect that the things that you're pushing out right this moment are going to go gangbusters. Like you're going to roll out a couple of emails and everybody's going to sign up and you're going to be good to go. That's most likely not going to happen right now. Most likely what's going to happen right now is you'll get a lukewarm reception, but maybe there will be a couple of people who are like, you know what, that's a great idea. If I wasn't conserving cash, that might be something that I would be open to. You might take a poll or ask your clients, what else is it that they need? What are they struggling with right now? Because really we all need to be in this open conversation with each other, with our clients, with those people around us. What else do you need? How else can I support you? What else is there that I might be able to help you with, that I might be able to connect you with, etc. And again, you may not be the person. If you know somebody that you can connect your clients to, or somebody that you know to, so that they can provide the service. Again, we all talk about this connection and being together and using our resources and sharing our resources amongst each other. What better time than now, right? There is plenty to go around. And if we all will just share what we have openly as we can, then we'll all get through this a lot better than if we all tried to do it on our own. So again, you can try new things, roll out new products, see if there's something that you've been rolling around in your brain. Like these online trainings have been something that's been rolling around in mine and Jennifer's brain for a while now, thinking about, hey, we really need to get back to doing Facebook Lives, but really in an intentional teaching way, because that's who we are, is we love to teach and share and all of that. So we really need to get back online and start doing these kinds of trainings and teachings for people. What is it that we can offer that would be helpful, that would be useful right now? And so we thought about doing these trainings that sort of talk about what to do in a downturn, or what to do when your business is in a slump or not going quite as well as you would expect it to. How can you pivot? How can you tweak things, and how can you look at things a little bit differently? And then the last thing I'm going to talk about today, and I'm going to go a little short today, but the last thing I'm going to talk about today is learning. Sharpen your saw, right? There's an old story about cutting down a tree, right? And that the woodsman spent as much time sharpening his saw as he did cutting down the tree, because sharpening your saw actually helps you cut down the tree faster, even though in the long run it feels like it takes so long to do that. So what online learnings or trainings or certifications or new things can you learn? Now, this is not about personal development. If you want to do personal development during this time, I absolutely encourage that. We all need a little personal development in our lives. But this is really looking at selective trainings. What have you been putting off? You bought this great course on podcasting, or you bought this great course on digital marketing, or you bought this great course on whatever it was that you haven't started, that you haven't used, that you haven't spent the time to actually get the value from. I'm not encouraging you to go out and buy a new product, new sales program, new marketing program, none of that. What I am encouraging you to do is take advantage of, take the time to learn the things that you've already got on your plate. You know, the programs that you're already paying for. There are a lot of subscription-based learning programs out there. I know that there's one for Brendan Burchard. I know that there's a couple out there for big coaches and names in the industry. Are you already paying for something like that? And are you actually taking advantage of all of the resources that are available there? So this may be a time where, instead of scheduling sales calls that may or may not be productive during this time, that, number one, maybe you just schedule those as connection calls, reaching out, hey, how you doing? Is there anything that you need right now that I can offer you? And number two, maybe you set aside some of that time for learning. And maybe you set aside some of that time for sharpening your saw and really getting the next level of certification and training and all of that under your belt, so that when we all come out of this, you can boost your perceived value to your clients. So this is where you want to selectively choose programs that will boost the things that your clients already see as valuable, right? So if you're already training in a particular modality, what new trainings can you take in that modality, or what trainings you already have in your library that you can use to increase your expertise in an area that your clients already value? This is really business learning that I'm talking about, not necessarily personal development type learning. And these are things that will allow you to potentially charge more when you get back to business as usual, when your clients come back online and say, hey, my gosh, whew, that was a bit of a rough ride right there, but you know what? We're back, we're ready, we're better than ever. Let's get going. And then you have these great new skills or these great new offerings and say, yeah, you know what? I spent this time really learning more about, this thing in your industry or this thing in my industry, whatever it is. If you support a particular industry, what can you learn about their industry that might help you during this time to offer better programs for them, or offer more targeted programs for them? How can you increase your learning with the tools that you already have? There's also a lot of things like this where coaches and creatives and people out there are offering more trainings, either for free or low cost or whatever, that you could take advantage of during this time. If you have the time and the energy to spend a little time improving your skill set, that is also one of the things that will help you ramp up once we're all the way through this whole thing. And that's about it that I have for you. So let me just do a quick recap, and then I will sign off for the day, and we will be back on Tuesday morning of next week with another topic. We'll be posting in the group the list of topics that are coming up as they're coming up, so that you can be sure to catch the ones that are important to you, and make sure that you catch the replay before we pull the video down. So number one, if your business is not survival based, do not expect new sales during this time. That's okay, but don't be disappointed if you're not making brand new sales to brand new people during this time. That's going to be a tough road for most people to hoe right now, is finding brand new people to bring onto their programs or bring into their fold if they're not sort of a survival based program. Expect attrition. Expect to lose some clientele during this time period. And those are going to be the people who were having problems paying your bills before this, this time period. clients that you were potentially having communication or conflicts with before, and make sure that you pay attention to what those two things. Pay attention to what is similar about those clients, the clients that you have problems communicating with or conflicts with, or clients that had trouble paying you on a regular basis before this all happened. As you keep clients, though, on the flip side, you also want to pay attention to what qualities and what is similar in the clients that stay with you, and what is similar about the clients who you absolutely love to work with and who love to work with you. Really refine your avatar right now. Who is it? Who is your ideal client who you love to work for and with? Trim your expenses where you can. Again, my recommendation is that we're all here to support each other, and that you try and support your local small business and your small business tribe as much as possible, and that you trim expenses where you can from the big companies and the big corporations. That if you can go down to a lower plan, if you can, use the free plan for some period of time, that's really what you need to be doing right now. Evaluate your systems, right? Evaluate whether or not the systems that you are currently using are working for you. And if not, don't be afraid to cut the fat. Don't be afraid to cut out systems that are no longer working for you. The system that you use is the system that will work for you, or the system that works for you is the system that you will use. Doesn't matter what that is. Again, if you have to write it all down on a piece of paper and cross it off each day as you go through it, then that's the system that works for you. Trello doesn't work for me. It's about time I admit that, right? So evaluate the systems that you have and make sure that they're all working for you the way that you expect them to, or the way that you need them to. And if not, be prepared to, especially if they're costing you money, be prepared to say, I'm not going to do this anymore. You must slow down to speed up. Take this time, this sort of forced reflection time, this forced business reflection, self-reflection time, and really slow down and evaluate whether you're doing the thing that you're passionate about, whether you're doing the thing that you would do if you got paid, whether you got paid or not. What we need are passionate people in business. Are you passionate about what you're doing, or is it just something that you do because it can make you money? What are you passionate about? Really take a look at what parts of your business you love and just love to do, and what parts of your business are, I could give it, I could take it or leave it, right? So really slow down, evaluate where you are, evaluate where your business is, so that when it's time to ramp up, you're ready to hit the ground running, all, engines ablaze. Explore ancillary services. So what sort of extra services can you offer that are in line with what you do, that may be, services that your clients need, but haven't, they don't know to ask for them. So these are things that that your clients may need, but they have not come around to asking you about them yet. And don't be afraid to try new things during this time. It's a good time to try new things, but don't be disappointed if you don't get a gangbusters answer. That's probably not what's going to happen. But listen for the little voices, the little encouragements from your clients that says, this is great, and and I can't afford it right now, and I wish you had offered this sooner, and it means that it's a great idea. You shouldn't give up on the idea. The timing may not be perfect, but explore those things. You have nothing to lose, right? Especially during this time, exploring those new things and trying different ways of delivering products, or different ways of offering things to clients. It's a great time to try it, but take your results with a grain of salt. It may not all work gangbusters right now. And finally, selective focused learning. So again, I don't recommend that you go out and you buy a new sales course, or I don't recommend that you buy a new marketing course. I don't recommend that you go out and try and get certified in something new. But is there a certification in the business that you're already in, that either, you got partway through the program and life got in the way and you didn't have time to finish it? Is there, is there a new certification that you could, or a certification that you've let lapse that you could renew again? What are the services and the certifications and the learnings in your particular industry and in your particular business that are valuable to your clients, right? What are the pieces that you can bring into your own business that are valuable to your clients? Um, Again, this is not necessarily personal development, although I do absolutely encourage that. Personal development and self-reflection are great things to be looking at right now. And what I'm really talking about is focusing on getting through some of those courses and certifications and things like that that will help you in your business, but you just haven't had time. We have time. We have time right now. So that's about it for me today, guys. If you have any questions, drop them below. We will be checking in periodically to answer questions on the live trainings that we're doing. Like I said before, the training will be up for about a week after it's posted, and then we'll be taking them down. But in the meantime, please feel free to replay as much as you want and ask your questions below. And I will see you all on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Thanks, guys.